Right, we have started pinhole camera. What is pinhole camera? A box made camera without any lens and with a tiny hole at one end and a translucent screen at the other end. A box made camera without any lens and with a tiny, very small hole at one end and a translucent screen at the other end. Right? The tiny hole is itself pinhole. Right? The purpose of this pinhole is focusing the reflected light rays falling from the outer objects. Reflected light rays falling from the outer objects. So, this is the pinhole and this is the object. Whatever the light that falls on it, it will be reflected and it will be reflected and the reflected light will enter through the pinhole. Will enter through the pinhole. So at the other end there is a screen. So the light that is coming from this angle, it will go and it will fall here, and the light that is coming from here, it will go and it will fall like this. So that what will happen? This head will come like this. An inverted image is created on the screen. So, if you carefully observe, the light that is reflected from the object is entering through the pinhole. So, from the top, from the head portion, whatever the light that is falling, the reflected light that is falling, it enters and it falls on the downside. And from the legs, whatever the light that is falling, it is coming and it is focused on the top side. Right? Such that finally what is happening? A inverted image is created. A inverted image is just formed on the screen. Inverted image. So with pinhole camera, the image that is formed will be inverted. With pinhole camera, the image that is formed will be inverted. So how can you make a pinhole camera? You need to take two different sized circular or rectangular boxes, and you must ensure that the smaller box should go inside the larger box without leaving any gap between them. Right? Without leaving any gap between them. How? Let us see. So, assume that this is one box. Bigger box, and you need to use a smaller box, little smaller, that should go inside easily without leaving any gap. into this bigger box. Right? So this is the bigger box and this is the smaller box. How to show this smaller box separately, I will just show you. So this smaller box is shown in the dotted lines. Okay, bigger box is shown in continuous line. So that you can imagine that the smaller box will be going inside. One side of each box should be cut open. One side of each box you need to cut open, and a tiny or very small hole has to be made exactly in the middle of the closed side of the larger box, and a square of about 5 to 6 centimeters should be cut and removed from the middle of the closed side of the smaller box. Then this open square you need to cover it with a translucent screen. Translucent screen. If you carefully watch it, you can see. Manjunath Anil Padigar, stop presenting yourself. Right. See. You have to close. Both sides you have to close. Sorry. You have to close both sides. Both the boxes at one side you have to close, right? And you need to keep other side of the both boxes open. So for one box towards larger box towards the closed side you have to make a pinhole, right? And for the smaller box, whichever the side is closed, okay, you need to just make a square cut in this area. Then you need to cover this square cut with a tracing paper. Tracing paper means translucent screen, right? Now you need to keep this tracing paper kept side towards the inside of the larger box, and you can pull it out or you can take it back in this way. See. So this is the pinhole. Here you can see the pinhole, the bigger box. This box is having, smaller box is having one small opening on one side to see the inside. And the inside of the smaller box you can see here one tracing paper or translucent screen. Here this is the tracing paper or translucent screen which you can see it. Okay. So as if you keep pulling this smaller box inside and outside, and if you focus it towards the outside on any object, that object's image can be just falling on this tracing paper in inverted manner. Okay, in inverted manner. Why it will come in inverted manner? Because I have shown you the reflected light rays from the top of that object will fall in the downside on the screen, and the reflected rays from the bottom side of the object will fall on the top side on the screen. right? That way the pinhole camera will work. So using pinhole camera we can get the inverted images, only inverted images of the outer objects, that too which are in bright sunshine. Like how we get the inverted images using pinhole camera, the image of the sun also can be just taken using a little bit different setup. Instead of using pinhole camera, you can get a image of sun also. So for that what you have to do is, you have to take a large sheet of cardboard and with a small pinhole in the middle of that cardboard, right? What this large sheet of cardboard with that pinhole in the middle, it has to be kept up in the sun, and the observer must let its shadow of that cardboard fall on the clear area. Then you can see the image of the sun formed as a small circular bright image in the middle of the shadow of the cardboard sheet. Okay. What you have to do is, here sun is there. You need to take a large cardboard with a small pinhole. And on the ground, you can have the shadow of the cardboard is formed. But in the center, you can see the image of the sun. The image of the sun is falling on the center of that shadow of the cardboard. This is how we can capture the image of the image of the sun by using a large cardboard. Right. So solar eclipses especially, they can be watched using the cardboard pinhole camera. So the image of the sun will gradually becomes darker as the eclipse it will assume to full. As the eclipse is going to full, you can see the image of the sun gradually becoming darker. Why should we use cardboard pinhole camera or some other device to view the sun? Why not we can directly watch the sun? If we watch the sun directly without any covering to our eyes, okay, our eyes may get extremely damaged. So only we should use some or other device like cardboard, pinhole camera to view the sun in order to protect our eyes. If you take in the nature, there are many natural pinhole cameras present in the nature, like trees covered with large number of leaves. The small patches of sunlight under the tree, they form circular pinhole images of the sun. Even if you go to rural area, okay, the small huts will be having minute holes. The sunlight will be falling through the holes and circular images of the sun will be falling on the ground of that huts in rural areas. The gaps between the leaves of the trees, they also act as pinhole cameras and they allow the formation of pinhole images of the sun. So the formation of shadows and pinhole images are possible only if light moves in a straight path. So here the formation of a shadow and the formation of pinhole images it is possible only when the light is able to just travel in a straight line. Okay, straight light, if it travels in a straight line, then only pinhole images can be formed. If light moves in a bent path, then pinhole images cannot be possible. Pinhole images cannot be formed. Light always moves along a straight line. Because of this property only, if you want to see a lit candle using a pipe, you have to use a straight pipe. If you are using a bent pipe, you cannot see the lit candle using a bent pipe, because light always travels in a straight line. As light always travels along a straight line, opaque objects, when they obstruct the light, a shadow is formed. If light would not be traveling in a straight line, even if opaque objects are obstructing, shadows might not be formed. As light is traveling in a straight line, when opaque objects obstruct the light, the shadow of the opaque objects, it is formed, right? And coming to mirror, what can you see in mirror? You can see your image. Reflections of any subject or object, they are only seen in the mirror. So what we see in the mirror is only reflection of reflection of light from our body only we are watching in the mirror. The water of a pond or lake also, it acts like mirror. So we can see reflections of trees, buildings and other objects. If we look from the top into the pond, you can even see the reflection of our own body also in the water of a pond or lake. A mirror changes the direction of light that falls on it. A mirror, it changes the direction of the light that falls on it. So only reflection of light is coming. What is reflection? Changing the direction of light. Changing the direction of light at the interface between two media, and again light travels back into the originated medium. This is known as reflection of light. Okay, so with this your chapter light, shadows and reflections, it is completed. There are some keywords given: luminous, mirror, opaque, pinhole camera, reflection, shadow, translucent, transparent, etc. Okay, let us just discuss them. What are those keywords? Luminous means the object which can emit out light on their own. Okay, something that is able to emit the light on its own is known as luminous. Okay, something that is able to emit light on their own is known as luminous, like sun, candle, torch, bulb, etc. Mirror. What is mirror? And a polished object, okay, an object with polished surface, which forms true image of an object because of reflection of light from the object. Okay, is known as mirror. Mirror is an object with polished surface that can form the true of the objects when they are placed in front of them. And opaque. What is opaque? The property of not allowing any amount of light through an object is known as opaque. What is opaque? Property of not allowing any amount of light. Opaque. The property of not allowing any amount of light to pass through is known as opaque. And what is pinhole camera? A simple camera without any, just now I have written it. A simple camera without any lens but with a small or tiny pinhole at one side and a translucent screen on the other side, okay, is known as pinhole camera. Reflection. What is reflection? The property of changing in the direction of the wave front of light at the interface between two different media. Reflection. The property of changing the direction of the wave front of light from the interface between two media. Shadow. What is shadow? A dark shape of an opaque subject or object that is formed on an opaque surface when the opaque subject or object is placed between the source of light and the surface is known as shadow. Translucent is the property of allowing light partially through a subject or object, right? And transparent, it is the property of allowing light completely through a subject or object. So with this, your chapter is completely completed.